Well, Bhavya, what is happening in Pakistan is that organizations like Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan or the TLP are homegrown. These are militant organizations. These are organizations that share the Taliban mindset, the Al Qaeda or the Islamic State mindset, but are legal, political organizations. They fight elections. As far as the TLP is concerned, it was blacklisted, yet it fights elections. So there is confusion about the Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan. Now, very recently, the Imran Khan government bowed down to pressure because the Tehreek-e-Labbaik people had said that, our leader, Saad Rizvi, Khadim Hussain Rizvi's son, Khadim Hussain Rizvi is no more. His son is now heading the Labbaik movement in Pakistan. He was taken to prison by the Pakistani establishment, the Pakistani police, and they demanded his release. Now, the overall perspective in the current scenario of the Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan is that, the French ambassador should be expelled from Pakistan. The French ambassador, because there were some blasphemous cartoons which France supported. And generally, the feeling in Pakistan is, Pakistanis are a very strange people. They take money from the West and they hate the West. I don't understand this sort of relationship. America is called the Great Satan. If you ask the average Pakistani on the street, do you like America or do you hate America? 99.9% of the people will say we hate America, fully realizing that the country runs on American money. If Western institutions in America stopped giving money to Pakistan, Pakistan would collapse in 90 days. But yet, they hate the very people that give them money. Now, coming back to the Labbaik movement, there were some killings. Some Labbaik people were killed. Some police people were killed in Lahore. According to Pakistani media, half a dozen odd people were killed, 6 to 8 people. Earlier, it was 3 to 4, then 6 to 8. Unconfirmed sources say that more than 25 people have been killed. 25 cops, policemen have been killed. And they said that we are marching all the way to Islamabad. And you know where they would go if they went to Islamabad? They would make a beeline for the French embassy. Imran Khan, he had no fight left in him. And this is typically, Bhavya, the sign of a leader who is not elected but selected. He has no mass base behind him. The Labbaik people can probably put more people on the streets than Imran Khan can. This would not have happened with Nawaz Sharif. This would not have happened with Benazir Bhutto. Because Benazir Bhutto was a wildly popular leader. Nawaz Sharif, even today, is a wildly popular leader. And you don't do that with popular leaders. But the Labbaik movement knows that it can push Imran Khan. So it's pushing Imran Khan. Today, Imran Khan has surrendered in front of Labbaik. Right? His name is Imran Khan Niazi, and that explains it all. Niazis have a history of surrendering. One surrendered before us in 1971. That was General A.A.K. Niazi. This is again Niazi, another Niazi. He has surrendered as usual. And we'll talk about more of Imran Khan surrenders shortly. So what happened is that the pressure was too much. More than 250 to 300 workers of Tehreek-e-Labbaik have been freed, are in the process of being freed from Pakistani jails. But this is not going to be enough, you see. If anybody feels that the Labbaik people are going to stop, they're not going to stop until they sort out this French ambassador issue. They want diplomatic relations with France gone. But they don't realize, they have a very restricted worldview. They don't realize that Pakistan cannot afford to upset the West. You see, the USP plus, let's call it tax breaks. For want of a better word, let's just call it tax breaks. They get tremendous tax breaks. Otherwise, they'll not be able to export anything to the European Union. And France is the leader after Brexit. France is the leader of the EU. For all practical purposes, it is the leader of the EU. You cannot upset France. Now, these people want the French ambassador kicked out. What will Imran Khan do? He has brought peace. He has bought peace by sort of bowing down in front of the Labbaik people. But that is temporary peace. These people will come back because their aim is simple, to target the French ambassador, target the government of France. And there is another very peculiar playoff here which is happening in Pakistan. There are two parties inside Pakistan. One is, when I say parties, I don't mean political parties. I mean 2 points of view. And the 2 points of view are one set of people support General Bajwa within the army, and the other set of people do not support General Bajwa. And after General Bajwa's extension, This entire thing about General Faiz Hamid staying back in the ISI, not going to Peshawar, Nadeem Anjum coming here, not coming here, that has been resolved because Imran Khan pretty much again surrendered. True to his Niazi name, he again surrendered. But the fact of the matter is that, at the end of the day, we have to understand that different strings are being pulled from within the Pakistan army. Maulana Fazlur Rahman, another big religious leader in Pakistan, he is supported by a certain faction of the army. Saad Rizvi, the head of Tehreek-e-Labbaik, he is supported by a certain section of the army. Without army support, you can't get these million people on the street. It's impossible in Pakistan. And these are the pulls and pressures that Pakistan needs to take care of here. All my Pakistani friends have told me from day one, Imran Khan drama kar raha hai. Imran Khan has no locus standi in any matter whatsoever. But I told them that, listen, the ISI chief reports to the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He said, that's on paper. That's on paper. The reality is that the army chief is God in Pakistan. General Bajwa khuda hai Pakistan ka. How did Imran Khan even think? If a popular leader who had absolute majority, if a popular leader like Bhutto, right? I'm talking about Zulfikar Ali, Benazir's father. And he was a wildly popular leader. Nawaz Sharif, wildly popular leader. If they could not survive after defying the army, who is Imran Khan? Imran Khan hardly has a vote bank. Hardly. People don't even like him. It was only General Faiz Hamid, who was the number 2 in the ISI, who threatened, who bullied, who paid money, who bought off the opposition and sort of stole ballots. This is what the ISI does. And they made sure that Imran Khan became the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Otherwise, you see, there is no scenario in which Imran Khan comes out, looking like roses. When General Bajwa said through DG ISPR's office that, these changes will happen in the army structure, Imran Khan should have realized that he's a selected Prime Minister. He should have just kept quiet. Just keep quiet. Just shut up and listen to your army chief, because that is what is going to happen. And my friends in Pakistan, they were laughing, Bhavya. They were laughing. And I said, why are you laughing? Imran Khan is the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And you know what my friend in Pakistan told me? He said, you think like this because you're an Indian. Because in India, the Prime Minister is all powerful. He is not Narendra Modi. He is Imran Khan. And when the army chief gives him a call and says, Imran Saab, shut up and sit down. Imran Khan will shut up and sit down. Imran Khan cannot defy the army chief. This is all optics for his domestic audience. देखो मैंने army chief को line पे ले आया. Now, what did Imran Khan's statement say? That after interviewing people, after talking to people, after evaluating, there is no evaluation. There is no evaluation. This is all lies. There has never been an evaluation for the office of the DGISI. Who started this new process? All of a sudden, out of thin air. This is a face-saving device. The fact of the matter is, General Bajwa picked up the phone and told Imran Khan that, son, if you want to complete your 5 years in office, behave yourself. Otherwise, you know who Papa is. And that pretty much solved the problem. Imran Khan, but let me also tell you, I think even after Imran Khan agreed to what, and he had to agree, he had no choice, even after Imran Khan put his rubber stamp on General Bajwa's desire of, appointing Nadeem Anjum as DGISI, I think the relationship between the army and Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or Imran Khan particularly, I think now it's damaged beyond repair. I think there is no going back from here. There'll be a facade. There will be a facade. There will be people who will say that no, everything is fine, and the establishment and the ruling party are on the same page. But the fact of the matter is that they're not on the same page, and the fact of the matter is that there will be very, very severe consequences from now on. That bond is broken. That trust is gone. Yeah. I don't think Pakistan, I don't think, Bhavya, Pakistan will ever stop begging. See, he went for a climate conference. He went to Saudi Arabia. He went with his finance minister. All right. Nobody goes to a climate conference with the finance minister. All right. Now, what this guy did was, he landed up there and he begged in front of Mohammed bin Salman. And Mohammed bin Salman gave him a package of $3 billion. You see? Your question is, when will Pakistan stop begging? Pakistan will never stop begging. Pakistan cannot stop begging. The fundamentals of their economy are wrong. And the Pakistani mindset is the biggest problem. I mean, you can sort out your fundamentals, but your mindset is the biggest problem. The mindset is that, if I can explain in Hindi, कोई ना कोई तो हमें पाल लेगा. किसी ना किसी को बाप बनाएंगे तो कोई ना कोई तो पाल ही लेगा. अमेरिका नहीं पालेगा तो चीन पाल लेगा, चीन नहीं पालेगा तो सऊदी अरेबिया पाल लेगा. Somebody will adopt us, somebody will become our father, and somebody will look after us. This because we are geostrategically so important. This has been fed to the Pakistan army and to every Pakistani child that you are the single most important nation on earth and the world cannot survive without you. A, because you have nuclear weapons, right? So this is Pakistan is typically like a person standing on a bridge threatening to commit suicide if you don't give him money. And most of the people give Pakistan money because they are scared of Pakistan, breaking apart. There are consequences. It has nuclear weapons, and that is the truth. But if Pakistan tomorrow breaks up and those nuclear weapons, we all know what happened during the times Soviet Russia broke up. Where did the nuclear arsenal go? We all know that. I don't want to repeat history here. But the fact of the matter is, how do you control it? How do you control the elements within the Pakistan army? Tomorrow, if anything happens, tomorrow, if Pakistan goes bust, who will control it? It has an army. It has got nuclear weapons. It has got strategic nuclear assets. What happens to all this? So you're looking at Armageddon, and I'm not trying to hype this up. If Pakistan did not have nuclear weapons, it would have been much easier to handle. The problem is it's an irresponsible rogue state with nuclear weapons, which is what makes the world so scared. Now, Pakistan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan went for a climate conference. He begged for money. He got $3 billion, right? Some of it is obviously put into the State Bank of Pakistan account, and some of it is for oil, deferred payments, etc. But the fact of the matter is, the fundamentals of the Pakistani economy are awry. They don't manufacture anything, and they're caught in this vicious loan cycle, right? Imran Khan is on record, Bhavya, saying that I will never take a loan. जब कोई मुल्क का वजीर आजम भीख मांगता है, and he used these words when he was in the opposition, कि कोई वजीर आजम भीख मांगता है तो मुल्क की गैरत को ठेस पहुंचती है. The pride, the honor of the country is, it's hurt. And this man has become the biggest beggar in the history of Pakistan. He has asked for so much of aid and got so much of aid and loans. But again and again, I repeat what I have said many a time. Today, Imran Khan has taken a loan or taken aid from Saudi Arabia. Let us say aid he does not have to pay back, right? But loans, yes. You've taken humongous amount of money from the Chinese, from the Arabs, from the Americans, from the IMF, from the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, everybody. There is nobody who has money who has not given money to Pakistan except for maybe India. Because India will not give money to Pakistan. Pakistan has taken money from everybody. But they don't realize, after 2 years, Imran Khan will be gone. And these loans, which now stand at approximately $155 to $160 billion US, $155 to $160 billion US dollars, that is not going to be Imran Khan. So Imran Khan has taken a decision today. जी $8 billion loan दे दो. Loan तो वापस करना पड़ता नहीं. You have to return the loan. But who will return it? Imran Khan will take the loan, right? Probably take a cut. Probably his ministers will take a chunk of that money and put it in their offshore accounts for personal benefit. Obviously, not for the Pakistanis' benefit, but they'll steal that money. That is corruption money. But the fact of the matter is, once you've taken a loan from a foreign government or from foreign agency, foreign institution, then what happens? You have to pay it back. Who pays it back? After 2 years, Imran Khan will say, I'm no longer the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Ask the guy who's in charge. Then you ask the guy who's in charge. He will again take loans because he has to take loans to pay back these loans, or at least the interest on these loans. Today, Bhavya, Pakistan does not have the money to pay back $500 million interests on the loans. $500 million, they don't have it. They just don't have the money. They're begging everybody. There was this article by CNN. It was printed in the CNN website. And I tweeted that article also from my personal Twitter handle. And this article says that Pakistan is signing an MOU, a memorandum of understanding with the Americans, saying that you can use our airspace to bomb Afghanistan. Right? This is after he said absolutely not. So now they are in negotiations with the Americans. और शर्त क्या है? What is the condition? Help us talk to the Indians. Now, Imran Khan, in front of all the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf cadre, says, fascist hai, Modi galat aadmi, Modi Hitler hai, Modi aisa hai, RSS, Hindutva, India is bad, blah, blah, blah. This is what he says in front of Pakistanis. But behind their backs, this very Imran Khan Niazi is groveling in front of Americans ki Bharat se dosti karwa do. I'll tell you why. Imran Khan cannot control the spiraling price rise in Pakistan. It's out of control now. Right? When you take money from World Bank, when you take money from IMF, you know, Pakistan does not control the State Bank of Pakistan. I don't know if very many viewers have known this. Pakistan does not control its own state bank. It's controlled by the IMF. They have put their terms and conditions. They have put their own person there. The chairman of the State Bank of Pakistan is an IMF appointee, is a Western appointee. Pakistan does not control its own finances, its own revenues, because it is an irresponsible state. It's a financially irresponsible state. Now what's happened? IMF says, increase the gas tariff, increase the electricity tariff. Right? And why is IMF saying that? Pakistanis will always say, "Jana badi sazish ho gayi." You know, IMF hamare piche pada hua hai. IMF does not care how you price your electricity. Alright? IMF does not care. You want to give electricity free to Pakistanis, give it free. IMF says, you've taken money from us, give it back. Pakistan says, boss, paisa le liya, lekin वापस कैसे देना है हमें नहीं पता. Then IMF will have to tell you ना कि कैसे वापस देना है पैसा. IMF wants its money back. It's a lending organization. And it does not collect taxes. Who gives money to IMF? There are various donor countries who give money. There is a pool of money, and then they sort of distribute this money all over the world. Pakistan is one of the largest beneficiaries over the years of IMF. Billions upon billions upon billions of dollars of loans. Without any means of paying them back. It's like a teenager with 4 or 5 credit cards. Yeah. You know, the teenager doesn't have a job. He's irresponsible. He's apart from being irresponsible, he's hooked on to drugs, alcohol, and he's got these credit cards. And he's living the fast life. And he does not know that after 1 month, he has to pay back the credit. It's not free. Pakistan thinks it's on a free joyride. Now, Bhavya, let me tell you, the fundamentals of Pakistan's economy are totally skewed in one direction. They depend on dole, they depend on loans, right? They export almost nothing. And they're able to export because of GSP+. If GSP Plus is removed by the European Union, Pakistani exports will fall down between 50 to 70% because that is their market for whatever it is worth. China does not buy anything from Pakistan. China need not buy anything from Pakistan. And Imran Khan is on record. He says we will export donkeys and all that, yeah, dogs and donkeys and all, chicken and all. That's what he wants to do. So this is high-tech Pakistan for you, yeah, exporting donkeys. And I'm not making fun. This is something that he mentioned. This is something that he's very proud of, that we should export donkeys because the Chinese apparently love to eat donkeys. Heaven knows why, but they do. So the fact of the matter is that Pakistan will never stop begging because there is no other way. It's dug itself into a very deep hole, and that's the truth. Actually, there is something wrong, I think, in the way the Pakistanis think, which is why they are isolated. There was a time when the world made fun of Pakistan. It stopped making fun of them because the jokes are no longer funny. They're the same jokes. Like, for example, Imran Khan, when people said that, when are you going to talk to India? Imran Khan said, no, India has lost the T20 match and unka mood kharab hai. This is not the time to talk to India. As of before the T20 match, Modi ji was calling him every day and saying, Imran Khan, baat kariye mere sath. I don't know which planet these people come from. Ye Pakistani kahan se aate hain? Kaun hai ye log? It's very difficult to identify because they have a thinking that is not aligned to any country on earth. Sheikh Rashid, for example, their home minister, he says that this
is, this win, is a great victory for Alam-e-Islam. For the world of Islam, this cricket is a great victory. Now, I'd like to ask Sheikh Rashid, Pakistan lost 12 times to India. Right? Was that a great loss for Alam-e-Islam? I mean, if this is a win for Alam-e-Islam, I'm sure the past 12 losses were a great loss for Alam-e-Islam. People with not just narrow vision, people with very little intelligence, a lot of cunning actually. These people are like, they say that who survives a nuclear holocaust? It is the cockroach. You see, only the cockroach can fight radiation and only the cockroach survives. I've heard about it, I've read about it. These people are political cockroaches of Pakistan. They know what to say when to make people happy, but they don't realize that they are causing harm to Pakistan. They might elongate their rule a little bit longer by 1 or 2 years, but they are causing harm to their own country. And look at Waqar Younis, such a fantastic fast bowler, such a great cricketer, such a legend. And he says that when, I think it was Rizwan, he says when Rizwan in the middle of the match, उसने हिंदुओं के सामने नमाज पढ़ी तो मुझे इतनी खुशी हो गई. If you ask an Indian, Hindu or Muslim, he can never relate to such conversation, though Waqar Younis did apologize for his behavior, but this shows the depth of hatred that they have for India. And while our people keep on saying that, no, you must be large-hearted, but, these utterances are, they are hardly human utterances. I mean, no human being would say something like that. So you can expect it from Pakistan. And, while this cricket match, which Pakistan is going so gaga about, they're going absolutely crazy about this cricket match, okay? Even today in Pakistan, they're unable to. ये जैसे कोई होता है ना बेचारा एक आदमी जिसके साथ हर समय जिंदगी में बुरा हुआ हो. Let me give you an example of a person who has had no good news in his life. And then suddenly somebody comes to his home with a box of sweets. कोई मिठाई का डब्बा ले आता है. वो पागल हो जाता है. Not because he cannot afford a box of sweets. It's just that nobody has treated him respectfully. Nobody has given him that sort of respect. He goes mad. And he thinks that he's become the king of the world. That is exactly what has happened with it. It's a cricket match. Relax. Take it easy. Did you hear the Prime Minister commenting about anything? Our Prime Minister saying anything? Nobody said it's a cricket match. That's all right. And the BCCI is a private body. It's not a body of the government of India. It's a private body. That's all right. It's okay. It's a cricket match. Get over it. And while Pakistan was celebrating its victory, you know what happened in India? Again, because we are so used to good news. Pakistan is so used to bad news. We are so used to good news. What happened in India? India launched the second sea trials of INS Vikrant, an indigenously built aircraft carrier. Okay? Number one. Number two, Tata Automobiles committed to spending or investing $2 billion in electric vehicles. That is number two. All in the space of 72 hours while this cricket match was going on, one day before, one day during, one day after. Number three, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji launched a health scheme worth 60,000 crores. Right? Fourth, flights from Srinagar to Sharjah were flagged off. And today Srinagar, that Kashmir that Pakistan wants the world to recognize as disputed territory. And what is the Muslim world? The Muslim world is largely the UAE because they fund OIC. Pakistan may say we are part of the Muslim world. Pakistan funds nothing. It can't even fund itself. Pakistan has no money. जिसका पैसा है उसकी तूती बोलती है, साफ सीधी बात है. So, who are the leaders of the Islamic world? They are the people with money, people with oil, with cash. And those people are saying that we will invest in Kashmir, which means that the UAE realizes that Kashmir is an integral part of India. End of story. That is how you do it, right? They are investing billions of dollars in construction and setting up projects in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, Indian Jammu and Kashmir. That is what the UAE is doing. We have signed MOUs. They're coming there, and every day these sheikhs are coming there, and they're doing stuff there in Kashmir. And Pakistan says the match जीत गए. ठीक है, मुबारक हो जी आपको मैच. Pakistanis have no concept of right and wrong for their country. Right? They have no concept of what is right, what is wrong. It's a very limited ostrich-like vision, that you put your, not even vision, ostrich does not have a vision. They put their heads in the sand and they believe that
because they can't see the lion can't see them. So that is the kind of attitude. We're very sad for a country like that, and it's a nuclear weapons state, and an extremely irresponsible nuclear weapons state. So Pakistan continues to be in the grey list. Pakistan has no money. The IMF has refused to give loans to Pakistan, right? China has refused to restart the Dasu Dam project unless Pakistan gives it $38 million in compensation for the workers, 9 workers, Chinese workers killed, the engineers killed, right? Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan, according to some Pakistani sources, they have smashed Lahore. पर मैच जीत गए. Congratulations, Pakistan.